Hello, world. It's JT. I need to holler at you about something. Hear me out. There's a passage in 2 Thessalonians 3:10 that says, if man doesn't work, he shouldn't eat. During this pandemic, we've discovered a lot of stuff. We had over 40 million people unemployed. Over a third of the workforce had to file unemployment at some point in time. If you take that passage literally, it means, well, F these people, they should all go hungry. Does that sound like God? No. Never made sense to me. There's actually an article about a politician who brought that up as saying, we shouldn't be freaking giving people food stamps, But I wanted to tell you today about how that's wrong. Just because somebody doesn't have a job doesn't mean they should starve. One of the worst things that this pandemic has exposed about America is the requirement to work to receive benefits. If you have to have a job in order to have health insurance, it's a catch-22 if you're unable to work because of a health condition. You have to get on somebody else's insurance. And there are millions of people out there without insurance. That's something that, Obama tried to fix, but Trump came through and he kind of wrecked all of that stuff, all that progress that was done. And there, at the core of that, I believe, is this scripture that's being misused to say, we don't need to provide benefits for non-working people. That's not the case. That's not what the Bible is trying to say. Let me explain. The Bible, there's a passage that says, who is man that you were mindful of him? The angels are marveling at this creation. And really, at the end of the day, we are children of God. God is the great creator, and therefore we too are creators. And when God rested, he rested after his work. What was his work? His work was the creation. He spent 6 days building this beautiful dirt ball that we live on, hurtling through space, And then he rested because God is the great creator, and his children who are like him are creators. Man is the only animal that can create. Man is the only being that can create. Only animals can procreate. They can make another copy, but they can't make something new. They can't make this table that I'm sitting on. You're never gonna see an animal or a gorilla or whatever come through and be like, hey bro, look at this chair that I just weaved together. It's just not gonna happen because man is a child of God. As children of God, we are little mini gods running around. I had a problem when Kanye came out with that song, I Am a God, until I figured out, if your dad is a god, then that makes you a god, And that's okay to say because we are creators. That's the point of that, is we can create whatever we want. And we do that with our words. God spoke and said, let there be light. When we speak, we can also demand things to come out and be present in the world. Just by saying something, even if it's not true, you introduce that into the world. Isn't that interesting? So there's a lot of false information that's been introduced into the world recently. A lot of people have been kind of clinging on to old lies. And it's time to reevaluate your belief structure. It's time to reevaluate our priorities as a society. And I think this pandemic has exposed the biggest flaw, which to me is we put so much pressure on people to have a job. But the whole point of being a person is not to labor, it's to create. Because God is the great creator, and we as his children are creators. So when you read that, the next time when you read 2 Thessalonians 3:10, when you read that and see if a man doesn't work, he doesn't eat, I don't want you to think if a man doesn't have a job, he doesn't eat. You need to think, what are they creating? Because you have women who have no job, but guess what they're doing? They're a homemaker. They're making a home. They're creating a household. Should they not be compensated for that? Being a mom is one of the most thankless jobs on the planet. You got kids that are yelling at you all day, and your husband comes home from getting a couple drinks after work, and all of a sudden, dinner's not on the table. But you spent all day creating a beautiful home. raising these bad little kids, trying to make them not so bad. I think you should be compensated for that, ladies, mothers, you know? We have Mother's Day and we say, oh, look here, I'm going to buy you a card and stuff. That's cute. But how as a society can we really support these men, single men and women who are trying to do this on their own? It's difficult when you have to have a job to be able to take your kid to the doctor. And I think that's wrong. I think we need to change that. It's absolutely something we should reconsider as a society. Where are our priorities? Our priorities need to be on the creators, not on the employers.